Right. Next up, we have been running. And we will be continuing to running right up until the end of November, the Space Hulk Tactics Hobby Challenge. Okay, and basically it was a challenge to go out to you guys to create Space Hulk related projects, and those projects could be anything: painting, modeling, story writing, mission writing, just whatever you can think of, so long as you can loosely relate it to Space Hulk. So if you want to paint up some Terminators and put them in there, I particularly have a love of Terminators. I still think Terminators rule.
Which version?
Come across,
the old ones or the new ones?
I like the second edition, the second version of the Terminators. The
Yeah.
old ones are great, but
They're a little bit
yeah. But the Terminators, the second generation of Terminators are just awesome. We decided we'd pick out a couple of projects just to show you some of the stuff that people have been working on. So Ben, we set you the task of picking out a few projects to show off. Who's first?
So the first project we're going to be looking at is from Dr. Totenkopf, who's actually been doing something quite interesting with his Terminators. So with this one in particular, he's actually looking at some of the ways that he's going to bring Terminators into Space Hulk, but he wanted to also address one of the problems that's come up in terms of scaling. Now, one of the big things is that obviously Primaris Space Marines now are a lot taller than pretty much normal Space Marines,
Yes.
and in some cases Terminators, which
Yes.
doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So he's been working on sort of bodging and sort of bashing with his Terminators to try and make them look a little bit taller. And as you can see, he's been getting stuck into that here, building up some of his different Terminators. You can see some of the the tools he's been using and the techniques as well, sawing up a lot of the bodies and sort of going back into it with green stuff to try and make them fit a little bit differently as well. And as you get towards the bottom, you'll see that they're a little bit taller than the Primaris now, a little bit taller than normal Terminators too. So it's a little tiny tweak, but hopefully it's going to turn into a really interesting sort of Terminator squad at the very end of it as well. I believe he's going to be taking the Howling Griffins into a Space Hulk, which is very, very cool indeed. And yeah, it's just an interesting thing showing someone who's not only getting to the painting and building of Terminators, but also trying something with the scaling of it as well.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he's showing all of the different tools that he's using.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so that's getting skill from me, tutoring from me, and a great idea.
Not a problem. So the way the challenge is working is there's a combination of we'll tally the results of the community by you hitting those nomination buttons for people. So even if you're not participating, take a look through the projects and hit the nomination buttons there. Then we're also going to have an internal judging panel as well. So the combination of the two will be picking the winners. We have a number of categories. So we have a winner and a runner-up for best idea, a winner and a runner-up for best execution, so the best skill, and a winner and runner-up for best tutorial. And then finally, we're going to be picking a kind of like a grand prize winner. And the grand prize winner is going to win not only the video game and some signed art, but he's actually going to win a copy of Space Hulk, the third edition of the board game, which we have been carefully tucking away now for a number of years. And it's been sitting here hoarding, and we thought, no, we want to give that away to whoever's whoever's doing it. I also want to up the ante a little bit.
Oh.
Because what we have done as well is we have commissioned Thomas Menes, our master modeler, to create a Space Hulk Tactics diorama. Okay, so he will be building and painting a diorama. He will be putting this into the project log, and the overall winner is going to win that diorama as well.
Cool. That's very cool.
That's amazing.
Okay, so this diorama, I don't want to steal Thomas's thunder. He's off getting all of the bits and pieces as we speak.
Cool.
But yeah, it's going to be flipping epic. I'm looking forward to this. No pressure, Thomas. So yeah, we thought we'd up the ante on that one, and I cannot wait. We'll bring you. Over the next few weeks, we'll bring you updates on Thomas's work, so as you can see what he's at. But he's one of the greatest conversion experts on the face of the planet.
His work is superb.
We've seen some of the crazy stuff.
If you want to see what Menes is capable, come on in. And I think in Backstage we have a series called Menes Minis Mashups.
Say that 3 times. Well done.
Menes Minis Mashups. Menes
You're
Minis
not
Mashups.
drunk.
where he takes you through step by step the conversion processes and things like that. So there's a good reason to join Backstage, other than to help us actually be here next week or the week after. So it's I'm really looking forward to that. We have another couple of ones. We have Wilco92 is doing something with the 3D printers.
Yeah, so Wilco92 has started up a project showing off what he's been doing. As you say, he's been looking into 3D printing, and he was saying that he doesn't have a lot of time and money to sort of drop into this competition, but he's going to try his best with the kind of materials that he's got at the moment.
Yeah.
So he's been doing a lot of stuff with some really nice 3D printed pieces of terrain that he's been using to create a little bit of a Space Hulk diorama, and he's going to be showing a particularly dangerous Tyranid, one of the lictors. I think they're called lictors, aren't they?
Yeah,
sort of crawling its way through one of the bulkheads on a Space Hulk, about to hunt down a different Terminator. So it's something a little bit interesting, going for a diorama, doing something a little bit more sort of like in the moment, which I thought was really cool. And someone using some new techniques, doing something interesting on the whole sort of 3D printing front is good to see, as well as the more traditional methods that we saw obviously with the one before, where it's, getting out the tools and doing stuff with plastic and green stuff, which is neat. So
Fantastic.
Really digging it.
Fantastic. So, as well as that, we also have John. And John is running both a project log and some backstage videos where John is actually creating a three-dimensional Space Hulk board. Now, what he's doing is he's basing it on the set. There's a laser cut set from a small business called BP Laser. So if you go and check him out, we'll have links in the show notes. And what he's doing is he's building all that up, and then he's going to go through a process of super detailing and getting it all painted up. So if you're interested in following along with that, he is running a public project log of it, but he's also doing some backstage vlogs where he's talking about the individual bits and pieces that he's doing. So that's reason number 3 to join Backstage this week.
John has been steadily disappearing among a series of corridor sections that are building up around his desk.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to see how it turns out. And then the final one we want to show you today is Amachan, and Amachan is working some Deathwing.
Yeah, so one of the favorites of yours here, Warren.
Deathwing were my first ever army. So
Very
it was
cool.
they were the first ever army I had. Was I built a Deathwing army, and man, am I tempted to go back to it sometime.
Awesome. But yeah, so Amachan, also known as Amanda on the site, has been putting together this really fantastic looking project. She's starting off with a squad of Deathwing Terminators she's going to be taking into a Space Hulk. You can see them there in their undercoated state as well.
Yeah.
But she's actually finished off the first of her models, which is the captain for the set, as you can see at the top there, with his power sword gleaming and that really nice bone armor that we've obviously come to know and love from the Deathwing Terminators. Amanda does a whole bunch of different projects on the website. I think she probably owns more projects than anybody else, I think. It's been really fun to see her getting involved in this challenge as well, which is really cool. She always brings something new to the table, which is really fantastic to see too. And hopefully it'll be a little bit of inspiration, because she's already got one of the models painted. So get stuck in and do the same for yourself as well. Whether or not you're doing Deathwing Terminators or Blood Angels or something different too. It's been really nice to see what they've been doing in the video games as well, running up to it from the guys there as well. They've been adding things like Space Wolves into their games as well. So every chapter is open to going into Space Hulks to hunt down Tyranids, basically.
And this is it. We want you guys to understand that don't feel constrained about entering this challenge. This is just about you getting some hobby done and having it some way linked to Space Hulk. If the link is loose, well, so be it. But get stuck in there, open up a project, and just encourage yourself to get stuck into it. It's an opportunity to do something that either you've been waiting on doing, or maybe have never thought of doing before, or maybe just something you just need to do.
Yeah, and one of the other big things about this as well is that we didn't just limit this to modeling potential.
Nope.
So as well as doing things like dioramas and painting and terrain challenges, we're also inviting people who want to write things or want to film something. That could be kind of cool as well.
Make a Space Hulk audioscape.
Maybe something like that would be really awesome too. And we've seen a couple of people doing that kind of thing in the project system so far. They're not overly fleshed out just yet, but once people start to develop their stories a bit more, that could be really fascinating to follow on. I actually, back in the midst of time when I used to write fan fiction, I even did myself a little Space Hulk sort of short story. Maybe I'll go and find it and post it up somewhere.
I think I did one as well. Warhammer fan fiction was how I got my start in writing. I think I'm fairly certain I wrote a Space Hulk one.
Awesome. Right. Well, as well as the Space Hulk, and while we're on the subject of the project system,